Well, it certainly has been a pretty warm winter so far across particularly the eastern side of the United States. Thanks for clicking on to the March Outlook edition of Vogan's US Outlook. We are about to end meteorological winter, but it doesn't mean we've got the end of winter weather, that's for sure. Certainly, January was a cold month across the western half of the country here. We've seen uh, well below normal temperatures, interestingly enough, across the Northern Rockies and the Great Basin region. But looking in the east, it was a very mild month. But February ended up being even warmer than that, because you can see here that we've got an area, particularly across Iowa, northern Missouri, and western parts of Illinois, where it has been potentially one of the warmest Februarys on record, I think. And even you notice here that the area of raids extends much broader across the country. So it has been a very mild February across the country, and it's been a very mild winter overall in the eastern side of the country in particular. But certainly a lot of attention at the moment is on California. We've seen record breaking rainfall, we've seen record snowfall, and we may well have set a new record for wind gusts over the mountains of California as well. We've seen a gust on Ward Peak of 199 miles an hour just a couple of days ago, which is pretty astonishing. And I will do a post on that in the next day or two. But like I say, the winter overall has been fairly mild across the country. Perhaps a bit of a hangover from the Super El Nino last year, possibly. But certainly, this was an element of fear that I had as we went into this winter, that we could go either way. We could go pretty darn cold, or we could go rather mild. And it looks as if we've went and leaned towards the mild side of things. But certainly, it has been a great past month and a half for California, that's for sure. And long may that continue. Obviously, we don't want to see the flash floods, we don't want to see the landslides, so on and so forth. But uh, looking at the bigger picture, this is a major deal for California getting out of this multi-year drought. So, as we go from February into the month of March, is all said and done? Do we have the continuation of this warm weather? That is a great question. But certainly, when you look at the stratospheric temperature profile, there is interesting things taking place. Now, you notice here this is the initial 10 millibar temperature profile over the northern hemisphere, and one thing that does stand out is this warmth over northern Siberia here. We've got the bulk of the cold pool, the bulk of the polar vortex at 10 millibars centered over the northeast Atlantic, northwestern Europe, where at the moment it's keeping things rather unsettled underneath that. We've also got blues here, so we have got a cold air mass up at 10 millibars. That usually reflects ridging over the country and the negative cold pool over Canada, and that is exactly what we've got at the moment here. We've got a bombardment of Pacific low pressure coming in, driving temperatures to record breaking levels comfortably east of the Rockies, and any cold is generally way up to the north here. But what is interesting here, and the models have been persistent, is showing a turnaround here. Notice here that the warmth does ease somewhat. It's not quite as blood red, but there is a significant warming at 10 millibars over the next 7 days, which extends from Asia across the top of the pole into Greenland and in the northern parts of North America. So is there some form of indication here that this strat warming may bring a colder period during the month of March? Could it actually be below normal in March for the eastern half of the country after what was a very mild January February period? Probably in some parts this may have been the warmest January February period on record for many eastern parts of the country, I think. But it's going to be interesting to see this. So it makes me believe that this last strat warming of the winter, the third and likely final strat warming before we hit the spring months, may well bring a bit of a pattern change, I think, for the lower 48 overall. Do we see a relaxation of the stormy pattern across California? Again, that remains to be seen. But there's no point with this forecast showing you the weeklies of the CFSV2, because to be honest with you, sometimes it's not the best of guides. And when you've got this taking place up in the stratosphere, the Mullen tends to be slower at seeing that response, that transfer of energy from top down. So it's going to be interesting to see just how it would play out. December, of course, was a rather cold month across the central portion of the lower 48 before it changed over. So could we get a bit of a bookend effect? Cold to start with, cold to finish with, warm in between. It has happened before, especially post Super early New Year's like 92, 93. Sorry, 82, 83, and 97, 98. So all open the big question at this moment in time. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Do check out the written version of the US March Outlook, available later on, and I'll be back again in the next couple of days. Have a great day, Wednesday. Bye for now.